Hello, everyone. Happy Easter. I hope you had a great weekend. It is that time of the year again. It's time for the Intellivision Homebrew Awards. I apologize for the later than usual stream. I had to watch my Toronto Maple Leafs play the Ottawa Senators in the first game of the playoffs, and my Leafs did what they were supposed to do, which was nice because I don't always do that. In fact, they rarely do that, and they won. So I'm very happy about that. But every time we get a goal scored against us, it's like, oh my God, we're going to lose the game, even if we're up by 4 goals. So it is scary being a Leaf fan sometimes. But you're not here for hockey. You are here for the Intellivision Homebrew Awards. I thought we would do, I'm going to make this an annual thing where I just share my voting and I talk about the games. We are also going to be covering this on Tuesday on the Retro Bliss Rewind podcast. You can watch that here on Mike's Gaming Gala, or you can watch that on the Retro Bliss Gaming on the Retro Bliss Gaming channel. And so you're going to get most of my thoughts today. But I'll probably have some more thoughts on Tuesday, and of course, Phil and Brian. And I believe we have Casey, the Intellivision Gamer, as a guest on Tuesday. You can hear all their thoughts on it as well. So we will get to it in just a second here. Casey is in the chat. He says he's just finished dinner and now for a show. And he does say, of course, he says that Michelle should be the host for the awards. Casey has a thing for Michelle. Michelle is a woman with a beard that it's me in a dress and makeup. So that's you know what, you've got strange taste, my friend, but hey, whatever floats your boat. And yes, an all-star panel on Tuesday night. One thing before we get into the awards, I do want to he almost choked on his cake. I do want to mention that because we passed 5,000 subscribers recently, if you have not yet entered for our 5,000 subscriber giveaway, we have a copy of, that's right here. We have a copy of Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition, which is in the awards here. You have to comment on that video, He Slimed Me. There's a video, I posted it on Wednesday, 5,000 subscriber giveaway, and you will be entered to win this. If you are a member of the channel, you're automatically entered into all draws on the channel. So you don't have to type He Slimed Me, but you go to that video and type He Slimed Me in the comments, and you will be entered to win. You do not have to be subscribed to the channel, but of course, I would greatly appreciate if you were. And it is an Intellivision game. So, I mean, if you want it, you should have an Intellivision, unless you just want to collect. I'm not going to judge. Anybody can win it. And I will be doing the draw this coming Saturday, April 26th, on my live stream. You do not have to be there, but make sure to check the live stream after to see if you won. And Intellivision Gamer says he hopes he wins. He only has either 6 or 11. He can't remember. And he says, I kid, I'm excluding myself from the contest. Well, he could win, but if he doesn't want to be in the draw, I will remove him from the draw. That is fine. All right. So this past week, the Intellivision Homebrew Awards launched, and we've got 7 categories here, and we're going to go through them all. But first, I think we should take a look at a list of games that are eligible for the awards. So we've got this is an interesting one. So Norseman 2 and Pyramid Warp, at least, they were actually 2023 releases, but nobody got them until 2024. In fact, I pre-ordered my Norseman 2 in like the spring of 2023. I've sent multiple emails through their site as well as directly. I've gotten no response. I still haven't gotten my game. I ordered this as well as a couple others. So I am very, very sour on Kote Gamers right now because I really wanted to do a follow-up to my Norseman character from my Norseman review. And although I've played the game, I do not have my copy. And I have a strong feeling that if I do ever get a response from Kote Gamers, they're going to be like, well, we're sorry, we can give you your money back. And that's not good enough. I want what I ordered. So that is, that sucks. But we've got Norseman 2, we've got Grail of the Gods, we've got Time Pilot, Pyramid Warp, Load Runner, Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition, Napoleonic Wars, Food Fight, Hamburgers en route to Switzerland, Super Pixel Bros, Buck Rogers Planet of Zoom, Space Bandits, Block'em Sock'em. We've got Aclabeth, we've got Beauty and the Beast Pro, Donkey Kong 3, Eggerland Mystery, Pac-Man Anthology, Voice Anthology, Arctic Tales Enhanced Edition, Ghostbusters Deluxe Edition White Box, Burger Time Special Edition. Don't get me started on that bullshit. Maxit, Final Round, Death Star Strike, Home Run Super Pro Baseball, and Pumpkin Bakery. Those are all the games that are eligible. Casey, can't wait to hear what I think on these. You loved Pyramid Warp. I have played Pyramid Warp. I didn't order it, but I have had the opportunity to play it. It is a great game. Retro Albo, how's it going? Brian's Man Cave for the win. He's got a couple games here. I know he did Donkey Kong 3 and Napoleonic Wars. All right. So let's get into the voting. So we'll just start with Black Tiger has commented since I last clicked on this. But we'll go top to bottom as long as Game of the Year is last. We'll do Game of the Year last. So we'll start with Best Graphics. Here, our options are Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition, Pyramid Warp, Grail of the Gods, Aclabeth World of Doom, and Time Pilot. For me, notably missing here is Napoleonic Wars. So the way the Homebrew Awards work, there's a committee. They look at all the games and they choose 5 to be nominated in each category. And they also decide on the categories depending on where they so they also select the categories depending on the games to choose from. To answer this, Mike, you are involved in some of these games. Yes, I am. Will that sway your vote in any way? I would be lying if I said I had zero bias on anything. I think anybody that tells you they have no bias is lying. But I am going to be as conscious of that bias as I can. I am going to try to vote objectively. So the reason I think Napoleonic Wars, I would have thought Napoleonic Wars would be in here is Justin Cheer was brought on to do some cool stuff for Napoleonic Wars. There are graphic slates for Napoleon, for Wellington. There are graphic slates for all the different matchups, as well as, win and loss screens. So there is a lot of graphics in it. And even like I can understand the criticism that, the main gameplay is just a board with blocks on it and you move them. Because it is at its core, it's just Stratego. But even that, Justin Cheer put some effort into making those maps look a lot nicer. The field that they're on has texture, has kind of water. The water looks a little nicer than just a block of blue. I would have liked to. I think it's. I'm not saying it would have won. There's one here that I think stands head and shoulders above the others. But I think it should have been nominated. That's just my thought on that. Casey says, it's my right to do what I want for any reason. That is true. But my kind of chosen role in this community has been the critic. And so I have to be as objective as I can be, or at least very conscious of my biases. So let's go through what is here. And if we scroll down here, we can see that Carlos was very kind and he added gameplay footage from Papa Pete and the Intellivision Gamer and whoever else of these games, so we can see them. I am not sharing that audio, I don't believe, but Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition is a very impressive looking game for the Intellivision. As you can see here, the map screen here, there's a lot going on for sure. There are little cutscenes. Here we go. Little cutscenes in between. Like if you got them. Did I miss that one? Yes, I did. Back here. Here we go. Yeah. Well, that wasn't such a chore. Yeah, this game looks really, really good. And if we scroll kind of to the end here, we've got Gozer the Gozerian. We've got pretty good looking Stay Puft Marshmallow Man jumping back and forth. We get a little cutscene here at the end. This game looks absolutely fantastic. If we go to, let's take a look here. Yes, a lot of work goes into a lot of these games for sure. I can tell, like even with very talented programmers, I feel like I can tell when they're just kind of looking for a paycheck and when they really care. And some of these games from this last year are games that I think they were just looking for a paycheck. That doesn't make them bad games. It just, the passion isn't there. Got to play the Papa Pete song. You are not the first person to mention that I should be on the awards committee. I would be open to it. I certainly think that the awards are best hosted on Papa Pete's channel. Both you, Casey, and Papa Pete are like news channels, and I think you're much better from that. And I'm kind of the Siskel and Ebert. So if I was on the committee helping make decisions behind the scenes, sure, but I want to still be able to publicly do what I do. So as far as hosting, I think Papa Pete does a great job with that, and I think he should keep doing that. And it's the old guy gamer, although many people say the old ass gamer. Looks better than it. It definitely looks at least on par with the NES. I'd say you're probably right. It's certainly more colorful. Yes, it looks great. Don't have to. There you go. So Time Pilot. It's a good port. It's an excellent port, and certainly with the limitations of the Intellivision, graphically, it is solid. It does have the little, if I can find the little zap, like it has that little animation between each level. I think it does an excellent job. I'm a little spoiled because I played Opcode's ColecoVision port of this, which is absolutely phenomenal. But it also makes use of the Super Game module and a graphically more powerful system. So certainly good. I like the fact that like when you hit the bosses here at the end, they start smoking before they explode. It's a well done game. Absolutely. Pyramid Warp from Kote Gamer. The gameplay itself is great. It reminds me a lot of Tutankhamun. It doesn't play like Tutankhamun. Well, I mean, it kind of does. But it's very much in that theme. And yeah, it's a great game. Graphically, it looks good. And then Aklabeth World of Doom. So here's my thing with Aklabeth World of Doom. This is a port of a computer game, if I'm not mistaken, and it has that 80s line drawing. For those of you who are fans of My Drunk Sibling, um, their sibling rivalry series, they did like a 12-part series of playing Dungeons of Daggeroth, and that was kind of a line drawing thing like this as well. It's a very neat aesthetic for sure. I'm not sure it really screams graphically impressive to me, but it's a very cool aesthetic, absolutely. Grail of the Gods, I streamed this one a little bit ago. It's not what I'd call a graphically impressive game either. It definitely has a pretty neat aesthetic, but it's a dungeon crawler. There's no animation with your character when you're on the map screen, as it were, or when you're traveling. The battles, they have kind of hand animation. Not like they lunge at you or anything like that. It's a great game. It's a simple game, but there's something about it. There's a zen to it. In this graphics category, I'm not sure I would give it my vote. I think the most impressive one in this category. So Intellivision Gamer has been a member for 10 months. He says, I'm sorry I didn't get you anything for our anniversary. Well, that is a-okay, because I didn't get you either. Gameplay is loud. I should, I need to mute all those videos when I bring them up. I apologize. Okay, so, and yes, Time Pilot plays great with the disc. Wizardry Clone, no, not really. It's definitely, yeah, I can see why you would say that though. But I think if we're talking about most impressive graphics, I do think Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition is where it is. Gets this one. I suck at this game. If you want to see good gameplay of this, watch it on Papa Pete's channel. Do not watch me play it because I'm really bad at this. But I think it is graphically the most impressive of them. They all look good, but it's the most impressive. And I'm going to keep. Oh yeah, okay. So I can't even look, even if I wanted to. All right, cool. Best action / arcade game. All right. So here we've got Time Pilot, we've got Pyramid Warp, we've got Buck Rogers' Planet of Zoom, we've got Pac-Man Anthology, and we have Donkey Kong 3. Time Pilot it's really difficult because I'm not even sure. Is Pyramid Warp a port? Because the rest of them are ports or a collection of ports / what would generally like Pac-Line games. But Donkey Kong 3 is a port with some added elements. Buck Rogers is just a straight port, and Time Pilot is a straight port. The Casey says the best action is Michelle. You are infatuated, my friend. That's a little disturbing. It was like next time I see you at a convention, I'm gonna if like somebody's standing behind me with long hair, your eyes are gonna go all gaga. Hey Tom, how's it going? So something that's really difficult when it's a lot of ports is separating. Okay, I mean, a big part of a great port is porting the right game, porting a good game. Lord knows there are plenty of games that don't deserve getting ports, and they get ports anyway. And if the source material sucks, your game's gonna suck, unless you've made big improvements. In which case, it's not. I mean, it's still a port, but it's an port and an improvement. Here, like Time Pilot on anything is great. Time Pilot on the 2600 is great. Pyramid Warp is a great game. Really fighting my Kote Gamers bias right now. because I am mad at them. Buck Rogers Planet of Zoom. It's a good port. It's a very uninspired port, in my opinion. There's not a lot special about it. Pac-Man Anthology. It's a solid little collection of games. You've got a couple different Pac-Man games. You've got some Pac-Line games from different contributors. I believe that one of the Pac-Line games is from Brian's Man Cave. But it's great. And one of the things, like, I've been criticized for saying, I don't think there should be ports or anything like that, or hacks or stuff like that. But that's not true. That's not remotely true. I love ports. I like hacks. I think the stuff that David Harley does is God's work. He's making old Intellivision games better. And on his site, he sells them as ROMs. And that's where I think a lot of them belong. Because when you are asking somebody to pay $60, $70 plus for a physical game, my view is just that you need to provide value for that. Is there $60 to $70 of value on that cartridge? And if there isn't, it should be a ROM. That's Intellivision Gamer makes a good point. There's a lot of free games on David's site as well. Intellivision.us, if I am not mistaken. Casey will correct me, but absolutely head over there. He does fantastic stuff. I just don't think individually a lot of them should be on cartridges, which is where compilations like Tron Anthology or Voice Anthology or a compilation of games like Pac-Man Anthology, that then gives it the potential value to be a cartridge release. For instance, I think, and we're going to get to it because I know it's in the audio category, but Voice Anthology, that is 4 games, 4 hacks on one cartridge. And if each of those games were going to cost you $20 and you didn't have them, why not pay the $60 and get all 4 of them on one? And you get all the overlays and the instructions and everything. That gives then the value for the cartridge. So yes, Intellivision.us, you can get some free ROMs and you can purchase ROMs. Most of the ROMs are $5. He's incredibly generous for what he's provided to the community. Hey, Mr. Baseman, what's up? So if we're going to go through this, I'd say that Buck Rogers Planet of Zoom I find to be a little uninspiring. If you love Buck Rogers, it's Buck Rogers, but I find it uninspiring. Pac-Man Anthology is a great little collection. Donkey Kong 3, props to Brian's Man Cave. He did add levels. It is not just a straight port of the levels that currently exist. And he added elements. So there's like conveyor belts going around. Time Pilot. I don't want to poo-poo Time Pilot. Like when I say it's just Time Pilot, to put Time Pilot on the Intellivision and have it feel as good as it does with the controller with that disc is an accomplishment. It's very well done. I don't think Time Pilot was phoned in. But I think for this one, Pyramid Warp is probably my favorite of these games. Again, putting aside my Cote Gamers anger, I think for me, best action arcade game for 2024 is going to be Pyramid Warp. Okay, let's head back here. Best port or conversion. Mr. Baseman says the 2600 Time Pilot looks like a disaster. It doesn't look good, but it actually plays really well. And it would be really cool if somebody like Champ Games made a port of Time Pilot on the 2600 that utilized the paddle controller. I think that'd be good. And Intellivision Gamer says the conveyor belt level is his favorite add-on level. Yeah, I applaud, like, when you take a straight port and you add something to it, I applaud that. I think it's a better. It gives a better result. It impresses me more. Best port or conversion. Okay, so we've talked about several of these, but there's two new ones here. Load Runner. So I did a two-part Load Runner special. I reviewed Load Runner for the 2600 and I reviewed Load Runner for the Intellivision. Both are great games. I thought that the 2600 version was more impressive based on the hardware that it's on. I would have liked more levels in Load Runner, but that level editor really is a game changer. My problem with it is it's a game changer that's missing one critical piece where when you save your level, it should give you a code that you can then give your friends and they can put the code in and play your level. Because as it stands now, that level's only on your cartridge. And you could, take a picture of your screen and send it to somebody and they can rebuild it. There is that possibility, but it would be absolutely awesome if I could just put in a code, hit load, and play like a level built by Casey or a level built by Papa Pete or whoever. And I think that would be absolutely phenomenal. If Luke is watching, I would absolutely buy a Load Runner Deluxe that just had that added because I would love to play other people's levels. There is, I think it's level 16. Somebody was pointing out to me that they thought it was unbeatable. And in my gameplay footage, one of the characters actually got like stuck on a ladder, which allowed me to beat that level. So if that is a genuine bug, and that level is not beatable, that would suck. But Load Runner is fantastic. It deserves to be in this category. Agerland Mystery is, again, it's a straight port. It's a straight port of, I believe, the MSX game. Excellent puzzle game. Again, it's a matter of, picking your source material. But if I am removing the source material, because I'll be completely honest, I do not like the original Ghostbusters game, which explains why I suck so bad at it. I've beaten the NES version. I played that a lot, but I played that a lot because I liked Ghostbusters, not because I liked the game. But it is the most impressive of these ports, and I'm trying. You can't completely separate the source material, but I'm trying to assess these based on what went into them to make them. And I do not want to downplay the effort that it must have taken to do Time Pilot or Load Runner or Agerland Mystery. That's I know Cyrus Martin's going to be really upset with me, but Buck Rogers was phoned in. Anyhow, I think that the most impressive one here is Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition. All right. So that was best port conversion. So now best platformer / adventure / puzzle. This is what a category. Platformer / adventure / puzzle. Okay. To put all of these in one category, I think is a reflection of, and actually, let's hop back here for a second. I think it's a reflection of what was available. You'll notice there is no best original game category. And if we go down here to, where is it? Eligible games. And we look at this. Norseman 2 is a sequel to a port. There's a good amount added. There's a lot of originality too, but it's not an original game. Am I freezing up? I'm sorry if I am. I apologize. Grail of the Gods, I don't think that's a port. It might be, but I don't think it is. Time Pilot is a port. Is Pyramid War a port? I'm not entirely sure. Load Runner is a port. Ghostbusters a port. Napoleonic Wars is an original game. I consider it an original game because its source material is not another video game. It's a board game, which was Stratego. Food Fight support. Hamburgers en route to Switzerland. Believe it or not, I haven't played it. Did my audio cut out as well, or just my picture, Casey? Because it's just my picture, that's okay. The most important thing is the audio. Super Pixel Bros, kind of, sort of a port, not really. But Buck Rogers port, like there's a lot of ports here, and not a lot of original games. In fact, there are not enough. Like even Pumpkin Bakery, it's a port of Tapper. It's had a bunch of stuff changed, but it's a port of Tapper. So not a lot of original games in order to even have an original category this year. And bulking the platformer adventure puzzle, I don't envy the task that the committee has, if I'm honest. Because they have to try to make whatever games come out in any given year make sense in X number of categories. So we're going to run with it. Okay, so we've got Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition. We've got Lode Runner, Grail of the Gods, Agerland Mystery, and Aklabeth World of Doom. If I'm talking specifically about my favorite games here to play, it would probably be one of these three right here. Grail of the Gods, like I said, it's an incredibly zen experience. Agerland Mystery is a lot of fun. Now that just means that they chose the proper source material. They chose great source material. And Lode Runner is great, but again, that's a source material, right? Aklabeth World of Doom, I need to play this more. I have played it. I do like it. It's something very different to what we usually get on the Intellivision, which is a big part of what I love about it. And then, of course, Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition. If I'm being honest, I don't like it, but that's just because I don't like that Ghostbusters game. It's not because it's badly made. It's very well done. And yes, you do want to enter the competition. So, yeah, so this one's difficult for me to pick. If of these three, I'm just going to go with what I like playing the most. So it's going to be one of these three middle ones. Or it could be Aklabeth. This is a really tough one for me. I've already given Ghostbusters 2 votes. So I'm going to go for one of these three. Lode Runner's great. If I'm being completely honest, without that, whatchamacallit, the password where you can share levels, I think it's missing a key piece to greatness. Grail of the Gods, I really like. It's a Zen experience. It doesn't have a lot of depth, but it is a Zen experience. Agerland Mystery, I really like, but that's like it is just Agerland Mystery directly ported. Fantastic game if you've not played the original, and I don't have an MSX, so I haven't played the original. I am very tempted to go Grail of the Gods, but Aklabeth is impressive. If I'm not mistaken, they're both programmed by Oscar. You know what? I'm going to give it to Grail of the Gods. Grail of the Gods may not look super impressive, may not have a lot of depth, but it's pick up and play fun. And I really like it a lot. So that was a really tough one for me. Some great games there. Casey says it's Easter, so the eggs should have won. Oh, I missed that. All right. Well, let's go to best sound and music. All right. So a lot of the same contenders here. I will say again, I'm surprised that, not that it would have won, but I'm surprised that Napoleonic Wars isn't here. Aiden Toledo, he made like 8 different tracks for the game, and they weren't original tracks. It was like 19th century music, but there was a lot of music put into that game. And for instance, like Aklabeth World of Doom, the music's good, but it's not, throughout the entire, like it's very samey a lot of the time. Voice Anthology, I mean, obviously. um uh but again, they're hacks of the originals. um Pyramid Warp, yeah, I mean, it's got good music, it's got good sound effects. Pumpkin Bakery, it's got good music. There's oh, what's the lyrics? Something something skeletons. Do 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 do. Yeah, it's good. Call me biased. I am the voices in Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition. The music here, it's ECS enhanced. It's got lots of it's got some great tracks. And they packed so many lines of dialogue. If you have an IntelliVoice and you're playing Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition, um, in terms of impressive, like I know that they were bumping the limits of what the cart could even hold. Um, it doesn't matter that it was my voice; it could have been anybody's voice. I think the most impressive of all of these is Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition. And Casey, this is for the previous category. He says he can't argue my Grail of the Gods pick because I like it. And yeah, at the end of the day, I don't do this so that you guys will to influence anybody's vote. Vote for whatever games you like. If you hated Grail of the Gods and you love Agerland Mystery, vote Agerland Mystery. It's no skin off my back. I do not profit from any of these, and despite the fact that I am wearing an Intellivision Revolution shirt, I am not sponsored. I just picked this shirt today because I like this shirt, and I like Intellivision Revolution. Okay, the penultimate category, best physical package and extras. I got to be careful here because I could offend a lot of people. Okay, we can look at stuff. Aklabeth, World of Doom. There is some badass artwork on this, both front and back. I love kind of the cave and how it's set up with everything on the side here. I love this big demon with the guy standing in front of him. It is a beautiful box. Not a ton special about what's included. You do get the very typical poster that Atari Age adds in a lot of their games. I spoke my bias. I acknowledge my bias, and I believe even without my bias, I would have voted the same for audio. It looks fantastic as in terms of added extras. Not much. Obviously, you got the manual here. I don't think I mentioned the manual, but it looks beautiful. Absolutely looks beautiful. Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition. Again, we're not talking unless you're just talking about the sticker, which is this sticker right here that you could win. It's great looking packaging. I love the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man on the inside here, and they're kind of peeking down the side of the building. Beautifully done. Not really out of the ordinary. I do like these overlays with the kind of 80s keypad on them. But beautiful package, well put together. Pyramid Warp comes in Cote Gamers standard packaging. I really like the overlay here. It'd be really nice if I had one in my hand. Not bitter at all. The artwork is great. Again, as so far as Cote Gamers goes, like they have their little poster in here. It's pretty par for the course. This one makes me angry. Okay, so a thinly printed box that you can even see here at Buckles. A republished pamphlet from a couple years ago, cardboard overlays with no laminate coating, and an admittedly cool 3D printed cartridge with a light. But the fact of the matter is that they didn't even pretend to hack anything on it. It's just, okay, we'll just take Burger Time and I'm angry about this one. It's not getting my vote. It's like, is this what we do now? We just reissue stuff and call it special edition, and like, who the hell's opening this and playing it? Seriously, there isn't even a manual in there. Not that Burger Time needs a manual, but still. Yes, the zombie or the mummy overlays were really cool. So Ghostbusters Deluxe White Box. I gushed about this last year, the black box version of it. My problem with it this year is it's the same thing but white for all intents and purposes. I'm not sure. Like, I voted for the Inti Home Ghostbusters Deluxe box last year. I don't think I feel like voting for what's essentially the same thing again this year. Which would mean that it's between Pyramid Warp, Ghostbusters, and Aklabeth. I really like the artwork on Aklabeth, so I think I'm going to say Aklabeth. Although it would not surprise me at all if one of the two Inti Home entries won. But I think I've explained why I didn't vote for those. And Casey agrees. It's great, but it's the same as last year's, but white. So I don't feel like voting for the same thing twice in a row. And the cream of the crop category. And we've got more than 5 in this category. It's Game of the Year. I have talked about Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition. I don't like the source material, but it is incredibly well executed. Time Pilot is very well executed. Casey says, yes, he voted for the black one last year, as did I. Pyramid Warp is a great game. That's a real contender, I think. Not that the other two aren't contenders, but it's a real contender. Grail of the Gods, great game, yes. Do I really, really love this game? Yes. I don't think it's Game of the Year. I don't think it's Game of the Year material. That is not to say I don't get lost playing it. And if you like Grail of the Gods as much as I do, I would totally understand if you voted for that. Lode Runner, great game. Again, missing that one key component that I think could put it really next level, which is shareable levels. I can just picture a thread on Atari Age of just Lode Runner codes, and you can play a whole pile of different people's levels. That would be awesome. Luke, please hire somebody to just add that little bit. Hopefully it doesn't take too much. And re-release Lode Runner as a deluxe edition or whatever, and I'll buy it again. I promise. Agerland Mystery, fantastic game. Very true to the source material, but not a lot new in it. Aklabeth World of Doom, very impressive. I think this one is a genuine contender. Whoop, I did not mean to vote that. Please. Okay. I'm not voting for that. At least not yet. Yeah, definitely a contender. It's impressive. It's something very different. Also Atari Age's first release. I can see that one doing very well in this this vote. Norseman 2. Again, I've played it. I don't have the copy that I should have, but I've played it. And it, like, I loved Norseman. Norseman is a very simple game, but I loved it. And Norseman 2 adds complexity, but not so much as to take away from that fun source gameplay. So there's definitely a lot added to it. I think it's a contender. I do not think it's going to win, partially because I have a strong feeling that a lot of people just don't have it because of who released it. Yes, Casey picked up a bunch of copies of Aklabeth for other people, which is why he has 12. Although it would not surprise me if he kept 12 for himself as well. Buck Rogers, Planet of Zoom. Hey, if you love Buck Rogers, power to you, but it doesn't belong in this category. And Block'em Sock'em. It's been on every console. It's not a bad game by any stretch. I don't think it's Game of the Year material either. Okay, so let's narrow this down. This is going to be, it might turn out to be easier than we thought. So these two off the bat are a no for me. So we're dealing with the top, 8. I'm going to knock out Egerland Mystery. Like I said, it's an excellent port, but there wasn't really much added to it. It's done well, but Game of the Year needs to have something special to it, in my mind. Lode Runner is missing just that little thing for me to call it like Game of the Year. If it had that password and there was like a community generating stuff, that would just do tons for it. Hey, Chris, how's it going? Time Pilot, again, excellent port. I do not want to downplay the technical expertise required to port that and make it play as well as it does. I don't think I'm calling it Game of the Year. Which would mean, well, and Grail of the Gods, as much as I absolutely adore this game, and you can vote for it if you want, like I don't care what you vote for, I don't think it's Game of the Year tier. So we're looking at Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition, well, Pyramid Warp, Aklabeth World of Doom, and Norseman 2. So so he listened at 2.5 speed because he arrived late, and now he's caught up. And apparently I sounded like Michelle. Did I sound like this? That creeps me out. I don't know how you're attracted to that, Casey. You and I have to have words. Okay, so these are all excellent games. So Norseman 2, Aklabeth, Pyramid Warp, and Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition. If I was to guess or put some thought into what I thought had the most work put into it, I would say probably Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition. But that is also me knowing some of the work that went into it. Not all of it, but some of it. But again, I don't like the source material. So I'm not going to vote for Ghostbusters Ultimate Edition. Which leaves me Pyramid Warp, Aklabeth, and Northman 2. It's a tough call. I really like Pyramid Warp. Pyramid Warp is a great game. I really like Norseman. Norseman's a great game. Aklabeth World of Doom is a great game. Well, it's not as enjoyable as the other two. But it's unique. Despite being a port, it's unique. For the system, anyway. So, I sounded like the... and this is the fastest speaking man in the world. So, I think for me, it's going to be between Norseman 2 and Pyramid Warp. I feel like more went into Pyramid Warp than Norseman 2. It's more visually interesting. They both have great gameplay. I think I'm going to go Pyramid Warp. Yes. So Chris says he voted for Load Runner. While sharing levels would be cool, the other games don't do it either. That's a very fair point. I th- my thing with Load Runner is that I did a back-to-back review, and I reviewed the Atari 2600 one, and that one had 150 levels in it. And obviously, graphically, Load Runner on the Intellivision looked better because the Intellivision's a more powerful system graphically. Um, but for the system, Load Runner on the 2600 uh, was absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, making levels is an option on other games. But for me, what makes Load Runner good, like, because there's only 40 levels here. So what makes it a really good game is the ability to make editors levels. It needs that in order to compete with games like Pyramid Warp or Ghostbusters or Norseman or Aklabeth. Um, so I totally respect the Load Runner vote, but I think 90% of what I love about Load Runner is the source material. And so I do think for my game of the year, I am going to go Pyramid Warp. But there are very few games on that list that if you voted for, I would be like, really? I could understand an argument for almost all of those games. And there we go. I have now voted in all 7 categories in the Intellivision Homebrew Awards. The no, you did not pay me to vote for it. I thought overall package as well as my enjoyment of the game, that's why I picked it. And Chris is absolutely right. No wrong answers. Great games to choose from. And his admittedly heavy bias is from the hours of playing out on the Apple II as a kid. I can totally understand that. Load Runner, the source material is fantastic, and a big part of porting any game is picking the right source material. So, fantastic. Yeah, so I have voted in all the categories. I hope you vote as well. The Intellivision Homebrew Awards, it is a, let's remove that. It is a pretty big deal for people who program and make these games. It's just bragging rights. There's no prize, there's no trophy. But to be able to say, this thing that I made, people like and people voted for, and it won this award. It really, I know for a fact that it means a lot to a lot of people. And for the committee and the people who put this together, thank you very much. It is 100% appreciated. And I do know the amount of work it takes. I have organized a lot of competitions in my day. And I know the amount of work that goes into it. What else would I like to say? Again, on Tuesday, we're going to be doing our Retro Bliss Rewind podcast on the Intellivision Homebrew Awards. We'll go over all this stuff again. We'll go over all the games. Casey, the Intellivision Gamer, will be there. Phil, Retro Bliss, will be there. And Brian from BD Retro Mods will be there. I would like to say, let's wrap this up by looking again at the eligible games. Last year, I was concerned with the amount of releases that I perceived, at least, as not being of value to be on a cartridge. And this year, I feel like we did a lot better. Despite the fact that there is not a ton of originality in these games, and I do, man, I want to encourage original games. If you've got original ideas, make them, or take an existing game and just add to it and make it different. And I would love to see more of that. But here, like with the anthologies here, released individually, not so much, but released as a group, I think the value is there. Maxit is a ROM, but if it does get a physical release, I think it should be tied to something else. I'm not sure it's gotten a physical release. I haven't. Man, I've been so busy. I haven't checked Intellivision Collector lately. I should go check them again. You got to keep checking there and get on their mailing list. To vote for Pyramid Warp for Game of the Year. Oh crap, this isn't a PM. And yeah, you're supposed to spend your bribes through anonymous middlemen. I appreciate it. Thank you. Rev sent him a shirt. Rev did not send me the shirt. I bought this shirt. I bought this shirt. I bought an Intellivision Collector shirt. Okay, so I wasn't 100% sure that Pyramid Warp was original because it felt very familiar, but that's great. And I feel better now voting for it for Game of the Year. So that's great. Mr. Baseman would love to see a homebrew base on the 80s V sci-fi miniseries. I loved that when I was a kid. And yes, I did see your super chat. But yeah, obviously I would like to see more originality, but I do I do think that the overall value of most of these is better than the overall value was last year. So kudos to publishers for trying to add some value. Like even straight port like Donkey Kong 3, there was stuff added to it. I like that. I like that very much. And if we can keep kind of pushing Intellivision Homebrew to be as good as it can be, I think we've got a healthy community. And something maybe that honestly, the next big step is to make these available to people. There are a lot of games on this list that you just straight up can't get. Intellivision Collector does it right. Electronite does it right. Homebrew Inc. does it right. You can get almost all of their games. We need, and actually Intellivision Collector has picked up the ROMs for a lot of Intellivision Revolution releases. So you can get Grail of the Gods, albeit in ROM format. So that's I think a big push for our community would be to do everything we can to make this stuff available to people. Because if it isn't available, it doesn't matter how good it is. It doesn't matter how good it is if people can't get it. And if people can't get it, people aren't going to even bother trying to get into the community, because there are some fantastic things coming out for the Intellivision, and I don't want to scare a single person away. I made a comment on my review this past week. I did a Vectrex game that was programmed in 1996, and I have viewers that are younger than that, but they were watching that video because they just picked up a Vectrex. And that's a game that was programmed in 1996. It's public domain, but it's still being published by people, and you can still pick it up. I would love the Intellivision community to be like that. It should not be. And don't give me any of this BS of, oh, it'll devalue my original copy. No, it won't. Put a round 2 on it or something. And quite frankly, if I have Popeye for the 7800, it does not bother me one speck that Opcode is also now releasing Popeye on the 7800, because, and now my copy isn't worth $400, because games are meant to be played. I want people to be able to participate in this community. Okay, so let's, yes, it wasn't in the port category. Chris, a V's gerbil level would be terrifying. And yes, I am familiar with many of the games that are on their way this year. We had a great start with games like Police to Avenue and reissue of Sorrow of Galdon Thur. I'm glad that second one really speaks to my other point of just making these available. Luke is building an empire. As long as he makes that empire available to everyone, I have absolutely no problem with that. And rev releases in batches. And that, I love the fact that Rev has an online store, and I totally appreciate everything that Rev does. Rev has not the best reputation for shipping promptly, unless it's on eBay. So my recommendation is to purchase on eBay. But also, he doesn't have the best reputation for having games available. And I know his business model is not the same as an Electrolyte or an Intellivision collector, where the idea is just to keep them available. He does his batch and he's done for the most part. So yes, and I was 16 in 96. So Mr. Baseman would love a Vectrex. Yeah, with that, like, it's ironic because the Vectrex community, their games are available, but the system's very difficult to get. And yes, I remember, Casey, you had asked me if it was worth it, and I said run and get it, and it had already gone. So next time, don't ask, just go get. Speaking of shipping, I played Aardvark for the first time today. Great game. And Casey asks, is that on the Intellivision? Whether it's on the Intellivision or the 2600, Aardvark is a great game. So that is my votes. I added in some thoughts on the homebrew community, but if you would like to hear more and opinions that aren't just mine, tune in on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Do not forget, if you have it in Intellivision, go find that video for the giveaway and type "he slimed me" in the comments of that video, and we will draw that on April 26th. And yeah, go vote. I believe I put the link in the description to the Atari Age forum. All of the categories have all of the games down below it, so even if you haven't played it, you can watch the footage and make your decision based on that. But go vote. It means a lot to the programmers, and it's a lot of fun. So with that said, Intellivision Gamer says tomorrow's show, be there or be square. Yes, Intellivision Gamer has a show every Monday night. I believe that's also at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune into him. That's where I get a lot of my Intellivision news. Casey is a great guy, and he's been such a big supporter of mine. So I have zero problem saying, go check out Casey if you haven't already. But that's going to be it for me tonight, and we'll see you next time on Mike's Gaming Gala.